Hello, you are welcome on Akoda Talk Show. Let's talk about love. Today, we want to know if love could be faked. We have our special guest in the house to help us unravel all the mysteries. Apostle, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Apostle, we've heard about fake love. Could love be faked?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, love could be faked. Understanding what love is, it brings us to that point where we get to know that many things are turned or termed to be love, but it isn't. Therefore, you could have lust being considered love. Now, that is not love. That is lust. So, love could be faked. Many people could have interest specifically, and based on that, they would turn or want to show love, whereas it is no love because it is just an interest at the end of the day. You will find many a person wanting to do something, thinking that the individual in question, the recipient of what he or she is going to do, can only respond, and for them to get the right um, answers or expectation being met, they know it has to be channeled through love. And knowing that they don't have love, they will only fake it. They will pretend, whereas it is not. When you consider lots of things that we show to be love, they are not love at the end of the day. So I agree, it is true. Love could be faked, whereas you could be swayed as well. What is fake could sway you. You think it is, but it is not. Yes, love could be fake.
We hear the phrase, why the phrase true love?
Love is love. There shouldn't be anything called true love at the end of the day. But because of the very first question you asked, that could love be faked, that is why you hear the term true love, because many a times that which we call love is no love at all. Therefore, this phrase has been coined just to prove a point that what one is showcasing, what one is saying, what one is calling love is the true love. Now, the true love is that which is the original, the genuine one, which is supposed to be. That which we know from the ideal world, where it is the nature, that which is God's image given to man, which bonds, which binds in a relationship. Yes, we call it true love because there is so much fake in the system. Therefore, when we turn it to be true love, we are only saying the actual love as it ought to be, not the one that we showcase and it has questionable connotations here and there.
So, does the true love exist?
Oh yes, true love exists. In our world today, one would want to consider the challenges and the difficulties, and would want to draw conclusions and say that there is no genuine love. Who would want to say that? There are genuine love. If you haven't seen one, if you haven't experienced one, then one would want to jump to that conclusion. But that conclusion is erroneous, because the true love, the genuine love, exists. We get it from God. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Now, no one can doubt the love of God. So many people in this world, in this real world of ours, carry true love, carry genuine love, carry the original love in them. I'm telling you, Akuda, there are people who have true love, who have love as it is meant to be. Love for God, love for humanity, love for nature. They have it. One, it may be difficult to find one, but I tell you, there are many people who have genuine love, who express genuine love, who deal with people on genuine love. There are.
Also, we have seen people say, I don't love you anymore. Why?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, Many people say, I don't love you anymore because they began loving. Maybe they began loving, but they realized that they have been shortchanged, sort of. They have been maltreated. They have been manhandled. They have been given a raw deal. Therefore, whatever love they were given, they take it back. So in taking it back, they say, I don't love you anymore. Not because the love is not there, but that which they have given, they are taking it back. They want to hold it and possibly give it or turn it to another realm, another person, another area altogether. Because the one they gave it to had downtrodden it, had taken it for granted, had maltreated it, didn't appreciate it, maybe didn't even like it, didn't respond to it positively, and it was affecting them, or it is affecting them. Therefore, they need to take it back. In taking it back, they say, I don't love you anymore.
I still want to know why, because if God is love, why would someone say, I don't love you anymore?
Well,
Some will say we don't love God anymore.
Well, many people have drawn that conclusion too. They feel disappointed. You see, disappointment is such that when it hits an individual, the way the individual will want to treat it, want to handle it, or respond to it, it differs from person to person. Many people are so disappointed that it affects the very core of their lives and their understanding. Therefore, they would want to call it quits and want to suggest that, no, it is not worth loving you. Therefore, I take it back. It is because of the maltreatment, the manhandling, what will make the individual go through in the expression of love, in the love relationship, as it were. Unfortunately, and I can bet you, friend, that many people, many people have gone through hell and high water in the name of love, as a result of love from their partners, from people they deal with, people they relate with. And when it comes to that point where they cannot handle it any longer. It is too much for them to handle. They want to call it quits. In calling it quits, they draw that conclusion and they bring that phrase, I don't love you anymore. They've only taken it back. They are holding it there, holding it to their chest, because they gave it out and it was manhandled.
Does love diminish?
Yeah, to a large extent, sometimes it does.
How?
It does because, you see, these questions you are asking are so related. They are so related. I believe that love grows. If it grows, then it diminishes. It diminishes because when the fellow comes in and gives his or her all as a result of love from within, how it is handled, and for that matter, how it is treated, will make the individual begin to check. Maybe he or she is being fooled. He or she is being taken for granted. He or she is not being taken serious. As a result, he will begin to cut it down. That which he does from love, he will begin to cut it down. Not because the love is not there, but in its expression, it is brought low, it is brought down, because the fellow that I'm loving, the fellow that I'm treating, handling, the fellow that I'm blessing, is not regarding what I'm doing. Sometimes it's so painful. It's so painful, it's so damning, it's so hurting that you give your all and it is treated with a pinch of salt. Many people would want to check what they are doing in order not to be disregarded at the end of the day. They bring it down. It's not so cool, but that is the reality of life. So love diminishes not because the love goes down and it is no more love, as it were, but in its expression. That's the key word. In its expression, the fellow begins to limit it, brings it down, so that He wouldn't want to be treated or taken for granted as it is. Therefore, the expression diminishes, it comes down.
But if we want to go on that tangent, don't you think we are shifting from love to like interest or something? Because the explanations you've given so far on interest and the rest, then it means we are shifting to that side. Because if it is true love, like you said from the beginning, it has to be there.
The love is there. I said that the love is there, but the expression of it is the issue. Let us not say that the love that is there goes down and the rest like that. No. You don't just quench it like that. It doesn't just grow cold like that and the rest. It is the expression. Many an individual will tell you, I don't have love. It's not true. Love is there. I don't have love is never true. They have it, but they have blocked it from being expressed. Because love is the nature of God and it is given to everybody. It's the image of God, everybody has it. But in expressing it is where the problem is. Therefore, they wouldn't want to express it any longer. They block it, they hold it there until when they can show it to somebody. We know of wicked people, very evil people, but sometimes they show care and concern for people. They show it. It's because that thing which is there is always there and intact. But in expressing it, one will want to apply it in such a way that he wouldn't feel the pain of it being manhandled. The fellow doesn't want to feel hurt because of how his or her love in expressing it is being treated. That is it. That is the key.
Also, going on, interesting submissions anyway. Going on, what has interest got to do with love?
You see, many people, I have come to realize that they have interest and they think it is love. Let me give you examples. You would see a woman easily falling for a man who has money. Easily. You will easily find a man falling for a woman who has the beauty and all that appeals to a man. Body form, appearance-wise. When you look at interest, one would need to be very careful not to call it love. Because the individual is pursuing an interest. Okay, the example that I just gave. When a woman falls in love with such a man because of the money, when the money gets finished, that is when you will know that their interest was the money, not love for you. When the man who falls in love with that beautiful woman, if it is interest, when the beauty wanes and diminishes as a result of age, childbirth, or accident, what happens to that man? He fell in love. Listen, many a man had fallen in love with a woman because of the breast that is standing. Because the breast that appears to have spring in it. It shakes and it still stands. It doesn't fall. Childbirth could let it fall. By reason of use, you, the man yourself, can even make it fall. Now it falls. And then you begin to chase after that which is standing. I thought you said you loved the woman, but you had an interest in a standing breast. Now the breast is falling, so the love also goes. So it is not love, it is interest. Because love abides, but interest comes and goes. When what I am looking for abides, when it pertains, then I presume to have love, or it is presumed that that is love. Okay, when that thing is no more there, the interest also shifts. Many people will fall in love and claim it is love. No, they've not fallen in love. They are pursuing an interest. They know that they will get help. they will get assistance, they will get something. So they begin to align themselves and then they act as if they are in love. No, they have an interest. They are pursuing that interest. When they get it, that is it. When that thing is not forthcoming, there is no love anymore. They will shift to the next candidate.
So what's the lifespan of interest? Or what's the lifespan of love?
Love abides forever. All the more when the individual who has it would want to continue to express it. Love abides forever. Interest is timely. It has its duration as long as it pertains. As long as the beauty is there, as long as the money is there, that interest continues. But when the money is not there, it shifts. It goes to the next person who has it, and that interest has attracted the individual. So interest can only abide as long as that which is there, that which the individual has the interest in, abides or remains. That is how it is. So many people, like I said the other time, many people can develop that interest as long as it abides. Even for 10 years, it is still there. But immediately it goes off, the interest is gone, so there's nothing there. Sometimes you see couples, you see people in love relationship complaining bitterly that they don't expect that their spouse, their partner, could be treating them this way at such a time. Yes, it's because probably it was an interest, and that interest is no more there, so the focus will shift.
But there's this analogy, school of thought, that you'd have to have interest in something before you can love it. How about that?
That is dicey, and one would have to look at it critically. Love is love, interest is another thing. If you have interest as a result of love for the individual, when the interest is not there anymore, the love must sustain it. But when it is just interest and it is not love, one would have to be very careful, because when you have love, that love could lead you to have an interest in something, to like something, to admire something, because the love is really there. But when the interest precedes the love, is dangerous. When you love something, when you fall in love with something, it must be the very core of the thing, not just that which pertains to the eye, which you see on the outside. It's very dangerous. You see, when you are doing love, we want to look at love more with our fellow human beings. You get that? And love, the interest that is in love is for love to sacrifice, is for love to care, is for love to support, is for love to be concerned, is for love to give its very best for the recipient to feel okay, to enjoy it and be happy. That is the interest love has. Any other thing else is very dangerous. I'm telling you, many people fall in love because of an interest. They saw something, it attracted them to it, and they say they love it. Time will tell. Time is always a revealer, so time will tell. You cannot quickly judge right from the beginning. Only time will tell.
Time will tell, Apostle, but we are still on interest. Interest. How can one identify between the two?
It's not easy to identify.
Once we can identify love, we should be able to identify interest.
But it's not also easy to identify love. No, see, don't be deceived. It's not easy to identify love in our world today.
Why?
Because when lust, L-U-S-T, lasts, you could tell me to be love. You see, we live in a world where people fake it. People lie. People don't speak the truth. They don't tell the truth because they know what they want. So they will pretend, they will fake it, they will act it. When you're not careful, you quickly jump to conclusion and say that that is love. It is very dangerous. And you cannot easily identify something being of interest because it may be love, but you are seeing it as interest. And they wouldn't come for you to know it is interest. They come with love. Are you getting my point? See, let me use a beautiful, shapy woman as an example. No matter what it is, your shape will be admired. Your beauty will be admired. The fellow that loves you genuinely will still admire your shape and admire your beauty. The one who doesn't love you genuinely will still admire your shape and admire your beauty. How do you get to know the difference? Because they will all come professing love. They will all come wowing you with their words. If they all have money and they can splash it on you, they will do it. How would you identify this is love, this is interest? It's difficult. Time will tell.
Can interest turn into love, or can love turn into interest?
No, love cannot turn into interest. Let's not do that. But rather, let's look at interest turning into love. What a question. I could add today your questions. Interest could turn to love, it's true.
Until when?
One cannot tell. Because, you see, one could get closer by means of that which attracted him or her. And in coming closer, you get to see more than what you saw before. And if that is what your heart has been yearning for, that this is what I want to really share with, that interest may turn to love. And it abides. So the very thing that attracted you at a point in time may not be there, but you will see you are not walking away because it has become love. You've grown to rather love that which you have seen, that which you now hold dear because of its value to you in terms of that which you have seen within. It goes more than the interest. More than the interest. Therefore, it is possible. Listen, in our world, anything is possible. Now, let me quickly do a U-turn on the first one. Where could love turn to interest? It's difficult, but you see, sometimes when the fellow decides, like your first question, when the fellow decides not to love you anymore, the fellow now just look at a particular interest for which you may be sharing. The love is no more there. It may just be the interest, and that is just about it, and that's all. Many people are falling out of love in their marriage with their spouse, but they still live together. And they show to the public that all is well. That is just an interest. No more love. It is just an interest that they are showcasing, but no more love.
Someone would also ask that why would we be chasing after something you are? Because if God is love and we have love in us, why would we be chasing after it?
Oh, you see, when you look at the expression of love in relationships, with God one, with man two, with nature three, when we zero into that of man, for instance, there are various areas. You have spouses, romantic love. You have family. You have siblings. You have friendship, and what have you. So it comes in various forms. Now, when you look at it, one will chase after love when you are looking for something, especially with romance. You go after it because in the real world, you go after it. In the ideal world, God supplied man. Eve was given to man, man appreciated and gave thumbs up to it. Now, You go search for it so that you can share it. That is what it is. But in the family, you don't go search for it. In the family, it is just there. You don't go search for it because it is there. Among friends, as long as they are friends, they don't go search for it. But until they are friends, one will go search for a friend that they can share with. That is how it is. So when you look at the dimensions, areas where we express and we show love, that is what determines to a large extent where you go, how you chase to be able to get it.
Why do people fall out of love?
People fall out of love, Akuda, because of the way they are treated. Yeah, because of the way they are treated. The way they are handled. The way they are taken for granted. The pain they suffer, the hurt. It makes them fall out of love. It makes them walk out of it outwardly. Today, many are maimed in the name of love. Many are killed in the name of love. Many have gone mad for the sake of love. Why must it be so? Some have lost everything because they loved. Some have gotten the shock of their lives because they love. Some are suffering various degrees of sicknesses, diseases, illnesses, and what have you, because of love. That is why they will fall out of love. Others do not even try it at all, because what they have seen their parents go through, what they've seen their friends go through, what they've seen their siblings go through, what they've seen their neighbors go through, puts them off. They wouldn't even want to venture, unfortunately. All these things make people fall out of love. The very level of deception makes them fall out of love. You fall in love with somebody who just had an interest. When you get to know it was just an interest, you have been deceived. Some have lost everything, because they believed that this is love. Why wouldn't they fall out of it? Unfortunately.
It's unfortunate. I think also soon our time is up. But Apostle, before we go, what would be your advice? Because this thing that we are calling love, with the explanations till this time, why would we still call it love?
Because love is love, and there is love, love exists.
So how do we correct these anomalies?
When we want to correct some of these things, we need to know the entirety of love and not just be running around thinking we have love. Love is not a feeling.
Where would be the starting point? What should we start from?
You need to go into yourself and first and foremost understand what love is. Because you knowing what it is and having the wisdom, the knowledge, you have the knowledge, having the wisdom and the understanding helps you to apply. It's key. In our world today, love is risk. I'll take it again. In our world today, in the real world, love is risk. Are you ready to risk? If you ain't ready to risk, then don't venture, because you may get the root shock of your life. Let us be very mindful what we call love. Let us be very mindful of how we treat love. God have mercy.
Thank you so much, Apostle. Once again, we have come to a sweet end, but I think we still have more questions than answers. What is love? That is a vague question to ask. Until we come your way again next week, I am Akuda. Let's get talking.